In these clips, the following strands are the focus: standards-based teaching with culturally responsive literature, systematic teaching of situational appropriateness with language and behavior, and expanding on academic vocabulary based on conceptually coded words.
In the unit that we've been doing, called Our People Built This Nation, we have studied various nation builders, people who have helped make this country what it is today. One of those people that we've already studied is Ida B. Wells Barnett, and so we've already read through the book once. Ida B. Wells Barnett, A Voice Against Violence. What we're going to do today is paired reading. So you are going to get with your partner and you are going to reread an important chapter, chapter 4, which is called The Struggle Against Violence. Now I'm going to review quickly, again, what's expected of you during paired reading. We started with culturally responsive literature, Ida B. Wells Barnett, because we've been studying the Nation Builder unit. And so after I had already read it aloud to them, we went back for a second reread. And so we use reciprocal teaching with the paired reading, where they use questioning, clarifying, summarizing, etc., in order to check for comprehension.
You know, like they changed the laws, and took away black people's rights.
No, now I know why they went. Now I know why she went here.
Okay.
On June 27th, 1890.
Why do people think Ida stopped working?
Maybe because she had got married and it was probably difficult to start working since she had a child. But since the baby was born, her work was better.
Okay, one good thing that a good reader does is identify what a character is like by the things that they do or the things that they say. One of our third grade standards is to be able to look at what a character says or does and determine their characteristics, their personality traits. So what we did was, using the information from Ida B. Wells, since we've already read it once and we reread a part of it, we went back to find adjectives that describe them. So what we are going to do is we are going to think of some adjectives that help describe Ida B. Wells Barnett. Adjectives. We're going to use think, pair, share. What is an adjective? Think. Once you have it in your mind, go ahead and put your hand on your head to show that you're ready. Okay, turn to your partners. Pair up.
An adjective is something that describes an
Table 4, person 3. That'd be Joshua. What is an adjective?
An adjective is like a word that describes something about a noun.
Okay, so we are going to think of adjectives that describe Ida B. Wells Barnett. And we're going to add them to our bubble map, because our bubble map is used to do what? Give me a shout out. That's right. That's right. We're using a bubble map to describe something. So in this case, we're describing Ida B. Wells Barnett. So let's go ahead and write our subject in the center. Okay, what you're going to do at this time is you're going to discuss in your group some different adjectives that may describe Ida B. Wells. Now, be thinking about the things that she did in Chapter 4, or the things that she may have said in Chapter 4, or even the rest of the book. Words that you will use to describe her whole personality, not just how she's feeling at any particular moment. So we're going to use numbered heads together. So when I say go, you're going to do bottoms up, and you're going to decide on one adjective for the group. Go.
Because she didn't stop. She didn't stop working just because she had a baby.
I say inspiring. Two beats.
I need all number ones to stand up, please. So for table number 1, Omar, what did you guys come up with as an adjective to describe Ida?
Heroic.
Good, 5-star word. I'm going to go ahead and write that in our bubble map.
Right.
Okay. What word did you guys come up with?
We came up with unstopping.
Unstopping or unstoppable. Very good, Zalika. Give her some love. Nice job. What did your table group come up with? Just. Excellent. Give her some love.
We came up with nice.
Nice. Okay. One of these words doesn't quite fit as nicely as most of them. You guys use some excellent words from your personal thesaurus, some 5-star words. But there's one word here that I think we could find some synonyms for. And that would be the word nice. One way we can use the personal thesaurus is to expand the student's own vocabulary. And so we started with the word nice, and then other students added to that word. We have already a concept for it, so we need other words that we add to it. So I want you to think of another word that means the same thing as nice. In order to do this, you're going to use give one, get one, where you're going to get up and give your word, your synonym, to somebody, and you're going to get one from them as well. So you should sit back down with at least 2 synonyms for the word nice. Go.
Big-hearted.
My word that means the same thing as nice is generous.
My synonym that means the same word as nice is kind.
My synonym for nice is amicable. My synonym for nice is kind.
Now that we've had an opportunity to give one and get one, we're going to share out some answers here. So I'm going to start with roll 'em. Table 1, person 1. Omar?
Kind.
Kind. Okay, good. Table 2, person 3.
My synonym for nice is courteous.
It is a 5-star word, Roy. High five from afar. Table 5, person 2. Zuri?
My synonym for nice was big-hearted.
Big-hearted. Excellent, Zuri. We came up with some excellent synonyms for the word nice, so we're going to add these to our personal thesaurus. But before we do that, we need to decide what page it is that we're going to turn to in our personal thesaurus. I'm going to turn to N for nice, because that's my easy word. And why would you turn to K in your personal thesaurus, Taylor?
Because kind is what I use at school and with my friends and with my family members.
So that when you go and do your writing and you want to find a synonym for kind, you can look up under K and find all these other 5-star words? Excellent. So once we combined everybody's synonyms for the word nice, then we added that to the personal thesaurus. Now, the reason it's a personal thesaurus is because the students put it under their own word. According to research, vocabulary is one of the primary reasons for students' success or failure. We want to make sure that they have a good repertoire of vocabulary for comprehension purposes, for writing, and for speaking. From there, we want to talk about situational appropriateness of language. Since we do a lot of code switching and a lot of contrastive analysis, one form of that is situational appropriateness, so that not only can they code switch, but they know when and where to do it. In Chapter 4, one very important part is when Ida gets to go talk to President McKinley about what's going on in her country. And so some of you have created a role play about situational appropriateness and the languages that she's going to be using. So we're going to start with our introducer, Zalika Jefferson.
This skit is about Ida B. Wells going to President McKinley and talking to him about the lynching going on in her country. It is nice to meet you, President McKinley. My name is Ida B. Wells Barnett, and I came to talk to you about something horrible that is happening in our country.
Hello, Mrs. Wells Barnett. What is it that you want to talk about?
Did you know that 10,000 black men and women have been lynched since the Civil War?
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked too, President McKinley. And my people should not be treated this way. And I want you to do something to stop this injustice immediately.
I will do everything I can to stop this injustice right away.
Thank you for your help in this matter, President McKinley. Me and my people really need your support. This part of the skit is about Ida going home and talking to her husband Ferdinand about what happened when she went to go talk to President McKinley.
So what happened, Ida?
Well, I talked to President McKinley about the lynching. I told him how we ain't gonna put up with it no more.
I'm sure proud of you, Ida. You do a lot for your folks.
Well, I just don't want no black person walking down the street and being lynched just for being black. That ain't right, Ferdinand, and I gotta do something about it.
I hope President McKinley do something about it too.
Me too, Ferdinand, me too.
All right, we just saw some excellent role plays using situational appropriateness, when and where to use the different languages. I want you to think about the language that Ida used when she was talking to President McKinley. Go ahead and share with your partner what language you think she was using when talking to President McKinley.
Mainstream American English to President McKinley. And why? Because President McKinley doesn't really know AAL, so she would like to so he could understand her, so he can MAE.
I think Ida B. Wells run it for speaking MAE to President McKinley for the lynchings of blacks and blacks' rights.
What language do you think Ida B. Wells was using? Go ahead and give me a shout out.
MAE.
Okay, MAE, also known as Mainstream American English. So then what language was she using when she went home and talked to her husband, Ferdinand? Turn to your partner and share.
African American language, a.k.a. AAL.
I think they're using AAL.
Go ahead and give me a shout out. What language do you think she was using?
AAL.
Okay, now I want you to think of an example from her discussion with her husband Ferdinand, where you were able to identify that language was African American language.
Example is when Ida said, "We ain't gonna put up with it no more." I think an example of what they did using AAL was when Joshua said, "You sure do a lot for your folks, Ida."
Now the real question is why? Why would she use MAE with the president and AAL with her husband?
Because if you speak AAL, they're not going to understand you. And when you take AAL with her, when she talks AAL with her husband, she's relaxed and calm and knows that she can talk to him in AAL.
All right, thank you. So I want to hear what some of you had to say about that. So we're going to use Rollum again.
She has to speak MAE because he doesn't understand AAL and the African American language because he's white, so she had to translate her language. And she spoke to Ferdinand in AAL because he's used to AAL and he's black, so she was going to speak AAL to make him understand.
She used MAE with President McKinley because President McKinley didn't know what AAL was and he didn't know how to speak it. And she used AAL with her husband because at home you could use anything at home.
What we're going to do right now is think of other situations in which we may use African American language or mainstream American English. In other words, we're going to be discussing situational appropriateness. For example, one area that I may want to use African American language, or one situation in which African American language might be appropriate, would be with poetry. Many of our poems for Poetry Slam contain African American language. So a lot of times AAL is appropriate during that time, especially if the subject is involving characters who speak African American language. So that would be one example. An example of mainstream American English, a time when mainstream American English may be necessary, is if I am taking the standardized tests. So we need to make sure that when we take our standardized tests, that we use mainstream American English. I want you to think of an example for African American language and one example for mainstream American English, situations in which those languages would be appropriate. We are going to use musical shares. What class does is it acknowledges students' styles and strengths. And a lot of our students' strengths are being participatory in ways that aren't generally considered traditional school protocols. So we create forums for that kind of discussion. Listen to the music, and we walk around, and once the music stops, whatever seat that you are currently at, you sit down and go ahead and write in your information.
Jelly time, peanut butter, jelly time, peanut butter, jelly time. Way it, there you go, peanut butter jelly, 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 peanut butter jelly.
Okay, now walk to the first available seat and go ahead and write in on their paper your ideas. Make sure that you're specific about where and to whom you're speaking. All right, on your paper, you should have a lot of good ideas about when to use African American language and when to use mainstream American English. I want you to read through all of the notations that were made on your T-graph, and then if you think you have a really good one, Raise a righteous hand, and we'll go ahead and write them up here in case somebody missed it. Okay, Zalika.
MAE, a really good one, is with the mayor.
Excellent job, Zalika. All right, another righteous hand.
MAE, talking to the firefighters.
Okay, you would use MAE maybe when talking to firefighters. Part of being, a student here at classes is acknowledging their strength in sociocentrism. In other words, they are sociocentric learners. They learn by talking and verbalizing and sharing information.